Hi, I'm Doug Oster from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and September means it's the second big planting season. Shrubs, trees, bulbs, perennials are all going in right now, and we're going to talk about some plants that have great winter interest that we can plant right now. And one of my favorites is this oak leaf hydrangea. It starts off with beautiful white blooms, which slowly fade to a pinkish. After that, these leaves will turn dark red, and then the bark itself is kind of an orange mottled bronzy look that looks great against the snow. Oak leaf hydrangea is one of my favorite plants. It's been here about 5 years. Slow grower, but beautiful. The next plant we're going to look at is a beautyberry, which is great late fall color and early winter color. Then we're going to head off to Hahn Nursery to see a bunch of other plants. So let's go look at the beautyberry. This is the beautyberry bush, and it's just finished blooming. Put on some little green berries, which eventually turn a really super bright purple. When we go to Hahn Nursery, they might have some of the berries have already started to turn. But the great thing about this plant is that in full sun, it'll be upright, but in the shade where it's growing here, it becomes kind of a weeper. So it's a plant that can grow just about anywhere. Now I've got one more here on the property I want to show you, then we're going to be off to the nursery. It's called Japanese Pieris. All right, it's a great old plant, Japanese Pieris. This one needs pruned badly. All this dead wood should come out. I got to get to that. This is just an absolutely wonderful plant. These are next year's blooms, and in April this will become filled with bell-like white flowers or sweet-smelling blossoms. They're just to die for. After that, the new growth that comes on will be red leaves, and then we get this for the rest of the season. All winter, it's an evergreen, and the bark itself has got a beautiful look to it too. Our next stop is going to be Hahn Nursery. We're going to see lots of other plants with great winter interest that we can plant right now. So why Hahn Nursery? Well, for me, it's a great place. I love the place. It's 5 minutes from my house. We've got a great relationship, and you should find a place where you can get a great relationship too. Go to a good family-run nursery and make friends with them. They want to know what kind of gardener you are. In my case, I'm really cheap, and everyone knows it. So I'm looking for bargains, can find pots that are broken that I can fix, a statue that I can fix. Find a good family-run nursery near your house, and it'll help your garden. Well, we're here at Hahn Nursery, and here's some of the plants that you can put in right now for great winter interest. And this one here is a variegated red twig dogwood. Now, this isn't the dogwood that we think of as a tree. It grows more like a bush, and then when it loses its leaves in the fall, these stems will be bright red all winter. It looks great in the winter, and behind it is Japanese maple. This one's called Bloodgood, and a lot of these stems will continue to be red also, which is a great thing in the winter. And then if we go back here, I love this plant. It's a real slow grower called umbrella pine, and isn't that cool looking, the way that those needles are? Eventually it'll get 20 feet tall, but it's going to take probably as many years to get that tall, and it just has a different look to it. So something that you can look out in the winter when there's not much out there and see. And then an annual actually that we can plant right now is right down here. It's flowering kale. Depending on the winter we have, this thing could stay there all the way to February, and as it gets colder, the colors will be more pronounced in the flowering kale. It's a wonderful plant to put in. But there's a few more over here, a few more shrubs that I want you to look at. You know, I could spend all day looking through all these different plants. These rhododendrons would be great winter interest. Some of these boxwoods here and topiary boxwood would be fantastic. Junipers here. All stuff that will continue to be there in the winter. But there's one more plant I have to show you that I just have fallen in love with, and it's a dwarf Hinoki cypress, and it's a gold one. And this gold chartreuse color is just absolutely wonderful. The way this thing grows, it's just an unusual growth habit and beautiful. And you put 3 of these in a bed, and it'll just light up the corner. I love that plant, but now we're going to head back home. I got quite a job for next week sticking with Doug, so let's head for home. All right, we're back home. Of course, can never leave the nursery without getting a few plants. That's just the way it is. But next week, we have an absolutely huge job. As I said, this is the start of the second planting season. These are all filled with daffodil bulbs, these paper bags, and these bags all down here. A friend of mine had a ton left over from a huge project and just gave them to me. I had 1,000 bulbs every year to the garden, but I'll tell you what, We're not going to use this tool. This is cruel and unusual punishment for gardeners. I've got a better way to plant bulbs. It's actually fun, but you're going to have to tune in next week. Now, if you've got questions about anything we did on Digging with Doug, log on to www.post-gazette.com/homes and click on the gardening forum button. I'd love to help you out there. You can also see my new Growing with Doug features on the Post-Gazette's membership site called PG+. Until then, I've got a few plants to get in the garden. No, a bug went right on my forehead.